First and foremost, just wanted to thank the wrestler family, Tony, just empowering me to build out our front office. I thought we had two tremendous additions in Bryson Graham and Peter Dinwiddie. It's 30-plus years experience for us. Amazing human beings, culture adds. So just thanking Tony for letting me build out this front office and empowering me to do that. Just feel like we're in a really good place organizationally. Feel like we're in a great place with our front office moving forward. Just really excited to build with the Hawks now. Absolutely. And it's draft season now too. So a lot been going on. We've had 80-plus players come through our program here, and probably spoken or connected with at least 100 when you take into Chicago and the Combine. So we have some flexibility and some optionality, but I really like our two picks at 13 and 22. I think we're going to be able to add two quality players to that mix. So really excited about the draft, feel really prepared about it. Looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
Lauren Williams, Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Onsi, I'm curious, you mentioned the two picks. Does that mean you guys are comfortable standing pat at 13 and 22 and have no plans to move up in the draft at all?
Yeah, I think the key for us is optionality. I think the two picks gives us that. There's different things we could do, but I do feel really comfortable with 13 and 22. I think there's going to be good players there.
Bailey, sports director at Atlanta News First. Nice to meet you. For those who are getting to know you a little bit better, what's your philosophy with taking on this role and kind of taking over with this organization? But also with that, how do you apply it to the draft and maybe what you value and what you're looking for?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. Just stepping into this role, it's comfortable in the sense that I was very fortunate to be in two organizations like the Spurs and Warriors. I hit the lottery when it came to learning from under R.C. Buford and Bob Myers and Pop and Steve Kerr. So I got really lucky there, but they really helped me along and be prepared for this role. And honestly, just ready to roll with it. And when it comes to the draft, I always pick the best player available. Like, that's my philosophy. I don't believe in picking for a position. If there's a guy that makes sense for us, we're going to take him. And always the best player. That's the philosophy there.
Raphael Haynes with the three-point conversion.
What's up, Raphael?
So knowing Trey is the cornerstone of this team, do you plan on, bringing him in and having him involved with if there are trades or free agent signings, anything like that, just to get his thoughts?
Yeah, Trey's, him spoke the other day, and he's just locked in for this season coming up. We're both locked in, and we have a lot of optionality this summer. Like, between the moves we made at the deadline, a little bit more optionality, flexibility with the trade exceptions that we got, long way to the tax, different things that we could do, but also have authority to go into the tax if we need to. So just looking forward to locking in, and next season I think it's going to be a fun one.
It's Zach Klein with Channel 2 here in Atlanta. 7 different NBA champs the last 7 years. Is there a common theme you've seen in building your program, and how far do you think you guys are from contending for a championship?
It's a great question. I think we're making strides. I think it starts every day in practice, every day when you walk into this facility. But, one thing we saw from these two teams at Oklahoma and Indiana, they were developmentally focused. The rules have changed when it comes to roster construction, but if you look at those two teams, they really developed, they built a culture, and the chemistry and cohesion between those groups, I think, stood out when you watch them play. They both play the right way. So trying to bring that mentality and that direction to our program.
Hi, Michael Cunningham, AJC. Is it still the plan that you will report to a president of basketball ops, or is that off the table?
Honestly, I understand and appreciate the question, but I don't have any information to answer that question. But as far as everything that's been indicated to me, I'll be making all basketball decisions moving forward, draft, free agency, all that.
At the end of the season, you had a situation where Trey said, hey, we had this young team, they told me to be a leader, but now I'm ready to win. You had a situation where Landry said, hey, there's got to be some patience. Just wondering, where do you fit on that spectrum of, patience and we need to win now?
Yeah, I feel like we're in a great position, honestly. When you look at our season last year, we had some injuries. We still won 40 games despite those injuries. And again, the optionality that we're adding to our group, our guys are developing still, for sure. We got we're potentially 2 more guys coming in, but we also have optionality with different mechanisms to add to this team, with the mid-level, with the trade exception, things like that. So always looking to make our team better.
Going off of that and making a team better, where do you see the biggest emphasis for improvement on this team?
It's a great question. I think there's a lot of avenues there where we could get better. Experience is always one, but honestly, like, it kind of goes back to my draft philosophy. Like, the best players that are available will make our team better, and that's how I look at roster construction in general, that fit within what we're trying to build and the culture that we're trying to build.
Within that, is there anyone on this team that you view as maybe untouchable in terms of how to build this team moving forward, keeping one particular player as a foundational piece, three particular players as a foundational piece?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy in this NBA. It's like a silly term,
Yeah.
untouchable, with some of the stuff we saw transpire. But again, just looking to add to our group, just looking to build something that's consistent, that has continuity and stability for a long time, instead of just being, a one-hit wonder type of team. So trying to build this into a program, and the two places I came from were an example of that, and might not be good for a long time.
Kevin Chenard, Hawks.com.
Yeah.
If you were to compare this offseason maybe to either last offseason or the next couple of off seasons that are upcoming, is this one maybe of particular importance because you have a certain level of flexibility that you may not have had or may not have in the coming years?
Potentially. It depends on how we structure contracts and things like that. We could have flexibility next season, too, next summer as well. So it is an important summer for us, for sure, and the goal is to get better through the draft and through summer acquisitions. We're re-signing people that we really like on our team. So, yeah, excited for it.
Between now or when you officially became the general manager to whether trade gets traded, re-signed, re-upped, or just stays with the team, there will always be a topic of conversation until something definitive happens. So as it stands right now, Onsi, how do you feel about him and the future of this franchise with Trae Young?
Yeah, we're locked in with Trae. And we talked last year, next season, we're just locked into next season, ready to move forward and be the best team that we could possibly be moving forward. And I think a lot of his leadership from last season went probably unnoticed to the common eye. Like, the way that he helped develop our young guys and make them better was significant. So, I mean, just continuing on with that and hopefully just making our team better.
What's your relationship with Q? The collaboration, the discussion, how do you guys form that partnership?
Q and I have a great partnership. It's he is, whenever I talk about roster stuff, draft, looking into what's next for the roster and the team, I always take his input without question. At the end of the day, though, it's always going to be my decision on whatever we do with our roster.
Onsi, Caleb Johnson with 99 The Game. I'm curious, when you have a big who is kind of looked at as undersized and you have a point guard who is looked at as undersized, how important is it to bring in size to your team with the draft picks and with free agency?
Yeah, it's a good question. Again, I think there are ways that you could build a team that you don't need traditional types of things. In the sense of, we do have some long athletic guys out there, which is really interesting for our defense and our play style moving forward. When we get to that point in our season, and we'll address some things there, but I feel really good about a lot of our group moving forward. We are a very young group that is still developing, and I think that's important to realize here. But really excited for Onyeka. Really excited for Onyeka.
Reggie Chapman from 11 Live TV here in town. Landry would also always talk about the ethos of the players that you bring in. I think for you, what is your vision of the type of players that you guys want part of your franchise, and I guess, of course, building forward as well?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, just appreciating Landry's a friend of mine, and I wouldn't be here without him. So just appreciating his vision and what he brought to the table when it came to talking about Hawks DNA and things like that. I don't really use terms like that. It's more of the things that I look for. Like in San Antonio, we always had the three things we cared about most were character, selfless, pound the rock. Here, it's competitiveness, toughness, resilience, and adaptability. Those are the things I look for with players.
Brad Rowland from Locked on Hawks. You mentioned drafting the best player as a philosophy. Are there, on-court traits you're looking for that might make a guy the best player, or is that just a general, what are you looking for as far as traits?
It's a good question. Honestly, ways to impact winning, I think, are just always important. There's skill sets that we probably would love to have, but at the same time, if somebody's really good at something that impacts winning on either end of the court, that's ultimately what we're looking for, and that fits within the guys we currently have on our team.
You mentioned the 80 guys you've had in here or
Yeah.
talked to. When it comes down to it, when you look at maybe it started a year ago, whatever it was, to get to this moment at 13, how many people, could you give us maybe some numbers that you will have to evaluate, discuss, visit with to get through first 12, then it falls in your plate at 13?
Oh, you mean like
We're looking at 200 people, that, you know, is it 100 guys that over the
Yeah.
last year you've kind of
oh,
narrowed in?
geez, yeah, it's
What's the
been,
database look like?
gosh, I want to say it's probably easily over 100 guys because you don't know what situation will play out, right? Like you could get a second round pick from buying one, or you could make a trade and picks move around and things like that. So we had to cast a really wide net. We had a lot of scouts go all over the world. I was in Europe for a couple of weeks checking out guys in the middle of America, looking at some dudes, and yeah, it's a process. You end up in small, tiny gyms and in different places across the world, but that's the fun part of this, man. It really is.
Another good way for this team to
Yeah.
get better, of course, is free agency. How do you hope to maybe make Atlanta a place that free agents want to come to?
Yeah, I think a cool thing about, like, when you look at like OKC, I think when you build a culture and have a program in place, that's really important to players. Like the city, for sure. I think we have a clear competitive advantage with our city of Atlanta, but you have to have a foundation and stability within the organization to get that. Players care about that stuff, and I think people just think it's like big market or whatnot. But you know, there's guys that end up going to OKC because it made sense for them, and now they're NBA champions. So that's where we're getting to, like building, controlling what we can control internally, develop how we want to develop, get the guys to be the best version of themselves, and add to that.
Jackson Caldwell, Sports Illustrated. When you've looked at the draft so far, do you feel like there's any positions that stand out as far as depth or like where the draft is strongest?
Honestly, it's a great question. I just again, best player available. Like the highest talent, highest ceiling is what we're looking for.
Kelly Price with Fox 5. You
Hi,
talked
Kelly.
a little bit about Trey. What have your conversations been like with him? Like maybe feedback he's given you moving forward that you're going to maybe take into consideration?
Yeah, it's only been positive. We've only been just talking about whatever. We talk about the finals, things like that. No, we've had a great relationship this whole time, but it's never been to the extent of like roster construction or anything like that.
Is there any feedback he's given you, just things that he'd like to see? You mentioned the culture building, that kind of aspect. Is that stuff you've talked about with him?
Yeah, we talk about the culture, the young guys, developing these guys. So just to that extent, really, more than anything, is, again, building a program more than anything.
Have there been any like decisions on players on the roster now that will play in summer league or developmental guys like that?
Yeah, it's a great question. We're still working through it, especially with the draft still ongoing.
Now that the finals are over and you're allowed to talk to guys that are free agents, you mentioned re-signing free agents, extensions. How does that impact your process? And I know none of it's in a silo. The draft's kind of connected to free agency trades and stuff. But now that you're allowed to do that, how does that kind of lay out this week?
Yeah, it's going to be a busy week for a lot of purposes. Draft, I'm laser focused on that, honestly, and free agency after that. We'll get to that, but obviously planning and thinking about that stuff and how it relates to making the best version of our team.
You've talked about culture, but is there anything else you brought from San Antonio and Golden State that you've learned that you can apply here?
That's a great question. It was really awesome working in both those environments, man. Like, there are two different leadership styles between RC and Bob, and Steve and Pop. Just like one thing that is always important is just making sure that everybody's aligned and everybody's on the same page. The building is together, and we're just working cross-functionally across departments. I think that was a superpower of those organizations. When you're a well-oiled machine, everything just works after that. And you talk about building a program, you can't really have one or a culture if everybody's not aligned on the vision. From me as a GM to an intern, we have to be able to have the same alignment where you walk in the building, you know what's going on, what your role is. That was big in both places, just structure, infrastructure, stability, and culture.
Onsi, Ken Segura, the Atlanta Journal
Hey, Ken.
Constitution. Are there players you already have kind of pegged, like we think he's going to be available at 13 and 22, that if they're available, this is who we want?
Yeah, we have a group of guys at both positions that would be great. We feel good about, honestly, both. Just playing out the scenarios, I think we're going to get good players at both positions.
Hang on.
Yeah, one more. I'm curious, kind of what is your story as far as when you wanted this kind of job, and obviously you went to law school
Mhm.
and then others, but yeah, what was your, how did you start and how did you, I mean, I know
Yeah.
where you've been, but yeah, what was your?
Yeah. Growing up in the middle of Canada, middle of nowhere in Canada, I like hockey was religion, but me and my brothers were just bigger than everybody else, and we kept watching NBA on NBC, and just had a passion for it growing up. And once I realized I wasn't good enough, I was like, how the hell do I get in the NBA? And I'd done some research, and a lot of people were attorneys. And luckily this worked out because I'd be a terrible attorney, probably. So there was a passion for it from early age, even like when people play NBA 2K. And when I was younger, you'd always go to like the off-season mode and like build a team up that way. So there's always been an intrigue with team building in general. But I found that like law school was really important for me because when you look at the CBA, for example, like it's a book of laws, and translating that book of laws essentially to your advantage was important, and then bringing that into layman's terms to the decision makers and trying to find loopholes and things like that was always like an interesting thing for me, as well as the salary cap and all that, but scouting as well. From every level was always really exciting to me. So it's been a passion of mine for my entire life.
You don't get to your point without the passion, the love, the desire to be, you know, in this sport. But when you look back at it with the Spurs, was there one pivotal moment where coffee, lunch, that you connected with them and had that first opportunity, and what was that to kind of prove your worth?
That's a great question. Honestly, like, just again, kudos to RC, and you know, he's one of my best friends in the world and one of my mentors. But just allowing me, the interesting thing about San Antonio was like he allowed me to be in every big discussion, every big meeting when I first started there, and just having me kind of play around in different areas and learn and explore and ask questions about how this all works. And there really wasn't one moment, but it was just him allowing me to kind of touch everything within the basketball operations department.
What was your role with them?
Oh man,
The very
very first was like I was doing like salary cap, CBA analysis, like team councils type stuff, and then scouting as well. Yeah.
Did you cross paths with Sam Presti?
I didn't, but congratulations to Sam. That was so well deserved.
I think a lot of fans can relate to the 2K and kind of loving the basketball side of it, like how you kind of came up. But what's something else you want Hawks fans to kind of know about you, to personalize you?
That's a great question. I'm pretty boring. So, I don't know. I like.
Sounds like not.
No, I like. I mean, you'll probably see me on the Beltline a lot. I mean, this city is coming from the Bay to Atlanta. I mean, I just fell in love with this city right away. I walk on the Beltline pretty much every night, just strolling and getting my steps in. But I love coffee, love basketball. I mean, I'm really not that interesting. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. But now I'm a grinder. I kind of started from, you know, an intern level and worked my way up to where I'm at today. And just gonna work my ass off for this organization, for this city, honestly. And love to try and get involved more with the city moving forward.
Did you kind of know anything about Atlanta before you moved here and really like got immersed in it?
Not at all. Honestly, not much at all. I had no idea what the Beltline was until I got here. I didn't really know much about the city outside of like we visited playing here. Not too much, but it was humid, but I went to law school in obviously New Orleans, so that was a lot tougher there. Didn't really know a lot about the city, but really love the city. Like, this is someplace I hope to spend the rest of my career.
You cross paths with Alex Anthopoulos of the Braves. It seems random that 2/3 of the GMs
I
in this
know,
town are from Canada.
Yeah, it's wild. I heard that. I haven't met Alex yet, and I definitely got to get in touch with him. Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, Malik Brown, Clutch Points. You
Malik?
spoke a little bit about Peter and Bryson earlier.
Yeah.
I guess, did you have a relation with them prior to them joining the team, and how do you see them impacting, you know, with everything you all are doing with the draft and free agency and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, I knew Peter and Bryson. I've known Peter probably for a little bit longer than Bryson, but both, like, we just cross paths, you know, in all the events, and we always hang out and talk every now and then. But, you know, I just felt like they were like the two most qualified individuals to add to our team, and this was more about like functionality of positions that we needed and extra leadership. It's like I talked about to your question earlier, it's hard to manage building a basketball operations group and have everybody feel connected. But those guys as leaders really help in that world.
Onsi, Jamila Johnson,
Jamila.
APLHawksFans.com. Just wondering, how hands-on were you in your role before your promotion with the Hawks?
Oh, you're talking about the assistant? Yeah, I was very hands-on with our group, but it was a very collaborative effort across our group. Yeah, all the roster stuff and scouting, like pretty significant role, but it was very collaborative across our group.
What's Wednesday gonna look like for you? What time do you think you'll get here? Any like
Oh man,
draft day
if I
rituals, anything
could,
like that?
if I could figure out how to sleep, that would be great. But no, I'll be here really early. I'll probably be up pretty late, but it's, you know, this is our chance to make the team better, not only for this next season but for years to come. So it's a big moment for our group.
When you got the call to take this position, what did Tony tell you? At the moment?
Yeah, he just empowered me at the moment to do what I thought was best for the organization, for the franchise moving forward, and I just ran with it, honestly. And again, I appreciate him allowing me to bring in the guys that I thought would help level us up and add to an already amazing front office. I feel really good about our group.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.